Let's bring you another of our headline stories tonight. Some former militant leaders in the Niger Delta have met in Okrika River State to discuss issues surrounding pipeline surveillance contracts. The meeting, which was held at the Palace of King Ateke Tom in Okrika Kingdom, had in attendance the likes of Asari Dokubo, Ajube Bibopiri, and Victor Ebikabowei. Though the meeting was low-key and did not have pressmen in attendance, part of the meeting's objectives was to discuss and agree on strategies for carrying out pipeline surveillance contracts with the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited in the region. Most of the conversations were held behind closed doors, but it is believed that the issue of combating crude oil theft also featured prominently in the discussions. Joining me to give an insight on this is Suraj Oyewale, an oil and gas expert. Thank you very much for giving us your time on Nigeria Tonight, Suraj. This meeting by some major players in the region centered around protecting pipelines against oil thieves. What difference would this make? One would think that the contract with Tantita, if I got that name correct, is already working.
Yeah, thanks so much. Good evening, and thanks for having me. I think this is a major development for the country, and I would, say this should be applauded, given the fact that even though the contract is already with the Tantita Security Service Nigeria Limited (TSSNL), I mean that the company owned by government Ekpemolo, aka Tompolo, a former agitator for the Niger Delta himself. But notwithstanding, I don't think it's just about the contracts. I mean, there are various options for us to, all options available for us to secure our pipeline infrastructure needs to be, they need to be explored. Of course, I mean, you have the conventional protection systems, the Navy, the police, the civil defense, and all of those. Then we have the this contract with the with Tompolo's company, Tantita rather. So I want to believe that the meeting by the leaders of the Niger Delta groups is a welcome development because that also forms some form of engagement platform with the government. And when we have all of these guys talking to government, it's easier for the government to even it's easier for the government to engage. It's easier for the government to have all groups together, and ultimately, I believe this is going to be some comforting news, and hopefully the oil theft in the region reduces.
All right, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, last month revealed that the country lost about 16.25 trillion naira to crude oil theft between 2009 and 2020. This is despite the huge investment on securing our pipelines. Why do you think this persists?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could have been worse. Maybe it could have been worse because it's a very, very complex operation that is normally carried out around that region. Don't forget the fact that sometime early this year, Shell, which is the operator of the Trans-Niger pipeline, one of the major pipelines that carry the crude oil from production facilities from the well edge in the rivers and Bayelsa region up to the terminal in Bonny, was tampered with. It was shut down for almost 1 year for the company to be able to carry out operations. To be able to carry out repair. And they found out that about more than 400 points had been tampered with. So it's back to operation. But I think it's a very, very complex operation. Unfortunately, some of the people that possibly are charged the responsibility of making sure that these things are done and end up being part of these criminals themselves. So I would say we should not despair. We should not look at the fact that we are spending this amount of this amount of money on pipeline security, and at the same time we still keep losing money to theft. So it could have been worse, to be honest. I mean,
if you were to give a time frame, I mean, when you say it could have been worse, we're losing this amount of money. How worse can it be? Given a time frame, if you were to suggest, how soon do you expect, considering all the monies that has been invested, how soon do you expect that we'll begin to see some real results when it comes to managing our pipelines and protecting them?
I think a lot happened this year. There were a lot of movements this year. The NNPC themselves, even the renewal of the pipeline surveillance contract, to Tantita Radar. So I would think that in terms of timeline, possibly by the middle. I mean, I don't have the numbers. I don't have some of these confidential information that are contained in this contract. But I would think that by mid of next year, given all the things that have happened this year, the repair of the leakages around the pipeline of the more than 400. For Trans-Niger pipeline alone, more than 400 points were discovered and they've been fixed. So I would want to believe that by mid of next year, there should have been significant
improvement.
Improvement in the whole thing.
Let's hold on to that optimistic note. Thank you very much for speaking with us, Suraj.
You're welcome. Thank you.